Distorted self-imaging. Human beings are prone to distorted self-imaging. Nervously, we study ourselves in the carnival funhouse mirrors of self-appraisal. Some mirrors make us look larger and return a grandiose and inflated image, while others make us look small and twisted. Often, we judge ourselves based on body image, but we are much more than our bodies, thank God, and our bodies are much more than their topographical reflections. Many people, especially those with body dysmorphia and eating disorders, are also highly inaccurate in appraising their topographical reflections. One of the most absurd lies ever uttered is the common statement, "I don't care what other people think." Inevitably, this statement is made to influence how other people think of the speaker, creating an absurd self-contradiction. As social mammals, unless we are in a coma, are autistic, or have reached some rare state of inner independence, we care very much what other people think. Typically, we care too much what they think. But it is not wrong to care what other people think. That can affect your survival, your chances for mating, your chances for friendship, and so forth. So there's a slippery boundary between caring sufficiently to be functional in the world and caring too much to where we are going to compromise our essence or our individuality to be what we think other people would like us to be, like a people pleaser, for example, or a poser. We arrive at a social occasion worried about our self-image and how others will appraise us, not realizing that the others in attendance are too preoccupied with their self-images to notice much about us. Fortunately, there are some reliable ways to get out of the neurotic prison of distorted self-image. One is to shift in social situations from internal considering to external considering. With internal considering, you are evaluating everything from the perspective of your wants, needs, desires, feelings, and status. If you are locked into internal considering, you're on the timeline of the princess and the pea. You can see the link there to the Wikipedia on the Hans Christian Andersen story that I'm referring to there, The Princess and the Pea. The whole world is your irritant, and everything seems to be conspiring against your comfort. With external considering, you are empathetically focused on others. However, the benefits of external considering are not just for others, though they are certainly for them as well. External considering is often the shortest path from 1,000 forms of neurotic torment based on internal considering. In modern parlance, this principle is sometimes referred to as, if in doubt, focus out. Lost my place for a second. Another way out of the distorted self-image trap is to focus on what I call existential impeccability. This is also known as the path of the warrior, or the stance of the warrior. Your focus shifts from self-evaluation and anxiety about how others evaluate you to impeccability, to dealing with what the moment presents with as much efficiency and grace as possible. Acts are done for their own sake, not to appear in a certain way to yourself and others. Sorry, I'm editing cards as I go along. It seems to be an inevitable occurrence. Another solution is William James' technique of acting as if. Essentially, you move toward a quality you wish you had by acting as if you already had it. James had a few versions of this principle, such as act as if what you do makes a difference. It does. Act the part and you will become the part. The modern parlance version of this principle is fake it till you make it. This principle is, however, morally neutral, so it is crucial what qualities you choose to act as if. Often people act as if they were cool, and therefore they become the kind of obnoxious jerk who does everything to be cool, hipsters, for example. The best application of act as if are when the desired qualities serve transpersonal aims, e.g., acting as if you were compassionate. If you combine act as if with external considering, existential impeccability, and a commitment to make a contribution to the world, you have a royal path out of the disempowered prison of distorted self-image. Finally, one of the most important life skills I've ever learned is not doing self and life evaluations on the fly, meaning in real time, like while you're multitasking and going about your day. In the past, I would let moods drive continuous self and life evaluation as I went about my day. In bad moods, these evaluations were similarly downbeat. And in neurotic moods, I would create flattering sugar rush self-evaluations. Evaluating yourself and your life on the fly is a dangerous method. Self and life evaluation are highly cognitively demanding projects, which one needs, where one needs an emotionally neutral state to have any chance of working through the million layers of subjectivity that come with trying to evaluate yourself and your life. I'm all for self and life evaluation where needed, however. So if I'm going to take that on, and I do it fairly regularly, mostly shorter term life evaluation, like what do I need to do between now and what I'm doing next, which in this case is traveling to the Texas Eclipse Festival. So it's a kind of shorter term life evaluation. But sometimes, more rarely, it's a long term life evaluation. But it needs to be when I'm at my best cognitively and not driven by a passing mood. For me, it needs to be during a morning journal writing session where I am writing the whole time. If instead you are continuously reevaluating yourself and your life based on every turning point in your day, and while multitasking, you're going to get highly unstable and unreliable maps of yourself and your life. When I was young, I used every mirror I walked past as an opportunity to self-evaluate. So using an example of this would be, you screw something up, we all do it, and be like, oh, I never get things right. So that would be an example of self and life evaluation on the fly based on a slight trigger event. Don't do that. When you're emotionally neutral, then you can evaluate, do I always screw things up, or does that just happen to sometimes like it does with everybody? So, this is not a value-free oracle. I will come right out and put this almost like a commandment. Do not self or life evaluate on the fly. I can't imagine many valid times when that would be an exception. You want to do it when you really have to and when you're going to give it complete focus, and not while doing any other thing, and not in response to a mood or some particular trigger event, unless it's a massive one. Do life and self-evaluate when you're ready to give that project your very best level of attention, focus, and cognition to make self and life maps. Always remembering that the map is not the territory. When we look at ourselves, we're always looking through a glass darkly. We are always going to distort things. And so it's never going to be fully reliable. That's understood. But if you have reliable spiritual allies, get them to check your work. Triangulate from other perspectives and compare to earlier maps. So by reliable spiritual allies, I mean like close friends, mentors, trusted family members who know you really well and have a proven track record of seeing what's going on with you with some degree of objectivity. Remember that everybody's an unreliable narrator, but you want the most reliable narrators you can find. But the spiritual ally does not have to be an actual physical person in your life. Oracles can sometimes function as spiritual allies, mirroring you um, uh, in the way that a human spiritual ally can do, giving you a reflection of of what pattern of energy and change and of where you are in your life right now. Consider this an auspicious time to break free from the prison of distorted self image.